All right, we're jumping in, checking out the new Soulrender sword. I'm going to show you my first win with it. Let's go.
Hostiles deployed a mosquito. You made it to the top 5. 5 squads still operational in the AO. Three squads left in the war zone. Stay alert.
Alright guys, we gotta talk about the Soulrender sword that was just released in Call of Duty. The honeymoon phase is over. How good really is it? Like everyone else out there, I unlocked it and immediately equipped it. I wanted to run around, cut people's heads off, use it as much as I could. And I'll be honest with you, cutting people's heads off with it is some of the most fun I've had in video games in a while. It's just so satisfying to connect, and the animation is crazy. In case you didn't know, in order to get the animation, they have to be either weak or you have to hit them from the side or directly behind with the heavy attack. That was from behind, and here's an example of them just being weak and getting the animation. Now, running around chopping heads off is fun, and I mean a lot of fun. Like running up to a guy and just connecting with the animation feels amazing. But after running around trying to heavy strike everybody, you start to realize that the heavy strike isn't the best in all situations, and it will get you killed.
Primary objective.
It's actually surprising that the quick strikes that you do with the left trigger are way better than the heavy strike. They're actually what make this melee weapon super OP. That's a very fast TTK for 2 strikes. I mean, it's fast. I'm not entirely sure if it's the fastest TTK in a melee weapon, but I think it is. I mean, look at that. You can just get out of fights quickly as long as you get the jump. And so that's what I did. I ran around using the quick strike, got a lot of kills. Had some fun with it, but there's something else we gotta talk about, guys. But when you're using the Soulrender sword, the quick strikes are great, the heavy strikes are great, the movement's great. It's a really cool weapon. But when you try to throw a throwing knife, there's this crazy delay. Now, the delay comes in 2 parts. If you try to throw a knife and swing, there's a crazy delay between the time that you throw the knife and that you're able to swing. Or if you swing and try to throw a knife, there's a delay between the swing and your ability to throw. But there's also this weird delay between when you throw the knife and you're able to tack sprint again. And not even just that. If you even bring the throwing knife out, there's a delay between when you can tack sprint again, even if you don't throw it. Now, I know this might not sound like a big deal, but when you're in the heat of battle and you gotta throw and move fast, it is huge. I've died so many times now, and it can get really frustrating, I'm not gonna lie. Like here, I throw the throwing knife and I turn to get away and evade, and I'm just stuck in the mud and he turns and shoots me. All because I'm holding the Soulrender sword. If I was holding anything else, I probably would have got away there. Now, part of me wants to believe this is a bug and it'll get fixed, but I'm not so sure. I think it might be intentional. The Soulrender sword is very powerful in itself, And I think if you could throw TKs like normal, it would be even more OP. So maybe this is their way of just trying to nerf it so it's not like crazy overpowered in the game. And so if you want to play with the Soulrender sword, what it forces you to do is change up your playstyle. You got to go into fights either deciding if you're going to use throwing knives or if you're going to use the sword. If you're going to use throwing knives, you switch your weapon so you can throw faster.
Oh, you fucking ninja!
And if you're going to use a sword, then you just rule out throwing knives altogether. And for me, I'm not used to playing without the ability to throw throwing knives, so it's a little weird to kind of learn the switch up, but I've been trying to do it so I can get some good gameplay video with the Soulrender. Here's some clips of me kind of switching up my style in order to use the sword.
Gas is
Requesting recon in my location.
enemies dropping into the AO.
Take note of how in all these fights, I'm only using the quick strikes. I'm not using the heavy attack.
Be advised, UAV.
Learned my lesson too many times.
UAV is being
Tal vez ese sueño yo lo que quisimos siempre.
advised. Enemies deployed a buy station.
You'll notice here, I tried to throw a knife and then swing, and that's what got me killed. Should have never tried to throw the knife. And if you find yourself up against a riot shielder, use the heavy attack.
You're almost done here. We've got 10 squads active in the field. Hostiles deployed a mosquito. You made it to the top 5. 5 squads still operational in the AO. Three squads left in the war zone. Stay alert. Targets left to kill. I believe that's what they call victory.
Well, that's my thoughts on it from a Warzone player's perspective. I'm going to throw it over to Bless the Blaze to give you a multiplayer perspective on the weapon.
So, you want to know what Soulrender is like in multiplayer? Here it is, quick and easy. Starting with the good. Light attack is lightning fast, has decent lunge, and it's a one hit. The movement speed is also pretty nice, comparable to the Karambit. The heavy attack is the anti-shield bro move, works on the front, works on the back. The bad. There's some inconsistency, which you can kind of see here. I swing at one enemy, but it hits the one behind or nobody at all. The ugly. It's hard to show, but if you use a lethal, you can't sprint immediately after. Here's my personal class recommendation. We're focusing on the Zoom Zoom to prioritize stabbing. To recap, Soulrender is a fast one-hit melee weapon with great speed in multiplayer, a great counter to rats, but you sacrifice movement if you run a lethal, like the TK.